It's been a day since the Kings' first preseason game. We were so excited to see Sasha Vezenkov play his first game with the Sacramento Kings. He ends up not getting in until, 6:06 of the third quarter, according to my notes.
Memory.
Let's see if I was actually right. 6:16.
Oh, well, there's a lot of sixes in there.
Let's start over. Kidding. Let's talk about what we saw because, one, I think we knew what he could do offensively. That was on display. I thought he looked really good offensively.
Yep.
What jumped out to you with his offense?
I mean, just how smooth his shot was, him moving without the basketball. I was like, great, smart player. I was excited about that. And I think it's funny because when we talked about this game, obviously because we go live after every single game, when we mentioned his defense, we're like, oh, he was there. Like, we didn't really get to break it down and focus on it. So now we get to focus on it.
Let's take a little deep dive because it's an area that it may take him a second to adjust. And even offensively, it's the NBA speed. It's the NBA athleticism. He is learning a new game. And I do think Mike Brown is going to be challenging him on that end.
It's going to be, a lot of it's going to be the same thing as how well he can sit down and defend. I mean, he's gifted offensively with his ability to pass the ball, and he's really smart, knows how to change pace, and cuts really well. Obviously, he can shoot it. Offensive rebound. There's a lot of things he can do offensively, and then there's some things he does defensively too. He's a physical guy. He's not afraid to take a hit or give a hit. It's just whether or not he can sit down in front of the ball when it comes to teams wanting to try to go at him, because it's no secret they're going to try to go at him.
When you watch him, it's not because he shies away from physicality.
Yeah.
It's not because of effort. I think sometimes it's just learning the speed of this game. So let's take a deep dive. All right, this first defensive play is just Sasha helping from the weak side corner, which is what he's supposed to do in this situation.
Absolutely. And Alex Len did a good job of recovering, but where I wanted to see Sasha Vezenkov in that moment is more under the basket. Look how he's just kind of watching. You don't need to worry about your guy in the corner necessarily right there. And if he's worried about an NBA defensive 3-second call, okay, he's got to get over that. The geometry of the floor, Deuce, he should be 2 steps over, ready to even take a charge from Alex Len's guy. But again, Len did a good job of recovering and contesting that layup.
And then Sasha, I love this play from an offensive perspective. He got the ball. He got it to a guard, and he sprinted down the floor, got into that early action. Boom. Beautiful. He missed a shot, and credit the Raptors for doing a good job to alter that. But that's the type of off-ball movement that makes Sasha a pretty special offensive weapon.
Exactly. Rebound, get out, go, run your lane, get the ball back. Almost an easy 2.
This is a tough one for Sasha here, right? Because they put him through staggered screens. Ellis has to come over to help, and it leads to a semi-contested 3. What do you think about that situation for Sasha trailing a bit?
That's it. Trailing behind, just a step too slow. I mean, just the way that he's navigating through those screens. Those screens aren't Domas Sabonis screens, right? Like, you got to find a way of just sticking to your guy a little bit more, because even his guy, if he had curled, I think he could have had an open lane. But instead, like you said, it forced Ellis to help a little bit too much right there. Boom, leaving his guy open for a 3.
And the other thing, too, is this is a tough matchup because McDaniel's 6'9", super athletic, too. And Sasha, he's got to chase you. And these are the type of guys he's going to have to be matched up against sometimes at the NBA level. This is a tough matchup, too, because Sasha's got to defend the rookie Grady Dick on the perimeter. But the one thing he can't do, Morgan, you can't give up middle.
Thank you. He keeps giving guys this angle, okay? And you see the way that not only he angled Grady Dick to go middle, he didn't even chop his feet on this closeout. I mean, you got a shooter and you got a guy who's willing to put the ball on the floor. You got to make sure, chop, chop, chop. And I don't know what that's going to be. What? Becoming more athletic, just understanding the pace of the game a little bit more. But that's just such a fundamental thing that I know Mike Brown is going to instill in him.
Yeah, and Ellis had to come over and help again on this one, forcing the pass, which led to another 3. And yeah, it's just, first of all, that's a tough matchup for Sasha, but being in the proper defensive stance, I think could have helped him a bit there. You can't give up middle. You do not want him to get that paint touch. When he gets close to the paint, that's trouble. Like I said, Ellis did a good job to come over and force that pass. This next play, I think, is a great example of what we were talking about. Sasha fighting through screens, right? Grady Dick, athletic. He stayed with him Grady does a great job with that advanced dribble to get that shot off, but this was contested by Sasha. He did a nice job here.
Yeah, and Grady Dick is a shooter, and look at the way that he elevates over Sasha to get that shot off. But Sasha did a better job of not trying to trail behind and fight through that screen, like you said. Alex Len did a good job of staying in help and kind of coming over there. It's just, I mean, sometimes there's just better offense going on.
This next play, Sasha has to come out and to deal with Chris Boucher, who's not a good three-point shooter, but what he is, he's athletic, and he could blow by you. And I think Sasha, if we're being super hypercritical here, did he give him a hair too much space on this?
Deuce.
But he's a 30% three-point shooter too.
But you want to know why? It's just like we said a few defensive plays ago. He's not chopping his feet. You can tell his feet are a little bit lighter in that situation.
Yeah.
He saw, oh, God, he's not going to try and blow by me. He's actually going to take this shot. But it was already a second too late for an NBA, well, I was going to say an NBA shooter, but just an NBA player in general.
He's still got a good contest, though, don't you think? I mean, it looks like he high-fived him there.
No.
What do you mean, no?
Look at it. Deuce, he's like way too far away, and then he gets a hand up when the ball's already going out.
So you're saying if he's just up a little more, that would have helped him big way.
And maybe just putting that pressure on him, right? But that's also because he probably doesn't have the confidence of being able to stay with him and slide laterally.
It's training camp and preseason. You got to learn a little bit, and this is the time to do it. And then this last play is involved with this last sequence here in the fourth quarter of the game. Clearly some miscommunication with him and Jordan Ford.
That's fine. That's going to happen.
And Alex did a good job to knock that away. But then this was a tough one. And this is just a really difficult matchup. I don't even know what you do in this situation, Morgan, because Sasha needs some help. This guard is going to try to blow by him, and he does just that. Sasha probably needs to get in a better defensive stance.
Thank you.
Okay,
Look
that's
at him.
one, right?
He's standing up. He's standing up, Deuce. I mean, that right there.
Yeah.
If you are sitting your ass a little bit more down in a defensive stance, he might be able to even come over laterally to his left side and even bump him. Maybe they call a foul. But look how slow he looked in that situation. Now, obviously, the layup was missed. But still, just not a lot of recovery there, not a lot of help. It just was not a good situation.
Yes. And the other thing, too, is we kind of wrap this up looking at some of those defensive plays is like he's going to have to adjust.
Yeah.
He's playing with a whole bunch of players he hasn't played with at all. Doesn't have a ton of chemistry. I mean, he's just getting to know some of these guys he's out there playing with. It's going to take some time for him, I think.
And I think this was always, I don't think we've talked about this. This was the biggest question about Sasha Vezenkov. What is his defense going to look like in the NBA? Can his offense be enough? And you're seeing more and more in this league that you have to be able to do both on both sides. And I believe that not only because he is a smart basketball player that he will get better, but I just think with Mike Brown's standards and that coaching staff standards that this won't be acceptable. He will only get better.
Yeah, because if he can get better as a team defender, his offense,
they can plug him in.
He's going to have a perfect situation with the Sacramento Kings, a good role. I'm excited to see how it develops, and let's see how this looks in game 2 for him coming up on Wednesday. Let us know what you thought of the breakdown, what you thought about Sasha's first game, what he did offensively and defensively in the comments. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.